2 days before Haiti's first World Cup match in more than half a century, FIFA banned the jersey they were supposed to wear, not because of a sponsor issue, not because of a color clash, not because the numbers were unreadable, because the shirt showed the battle that created Haiti itself. And that is where this story stops looking like a routine equipment decision and starts looking like a collision between football bureaucracy and national identity. To understand why the reaction became so explosive, you have to start with what Haiti had already survived just to get here. For most countries, qualifying for a World Cup means home games, packed stadiums, and a country celebrating together. Haiti had none of that. The country's security crisis had become so severe that the national team could not safely host qualifiers at home. Every home match was played in Curaçao. Think about that for a second. A nation trying to qualify for the World Cup without being able to play in its own country. It gets stranger. Head coach Sebastian Mtn had never even visited Haiti because security conditions made the trip too dangerous. So the team was attempting one of the hardest qualification campaigns imaginable while separated from the country it represented. And somehow, they did it. After 52 years away from the World Cup, Haiti qualified. For many Haitians, this was not just a sporting achievement. It was proof that the country could still produce something hopeful in the middle of a national emergency. That is why the jersey mattered so much. The kit manufacturer JerseyAt designed a special shirt featuring artwork from the Battle of Vertières, the 1803 victory that secured Haitian independence from France. This was not a random historical reference. It was the decisive Battle of the Revolution that created the first Black Republic born from a successful slave revolt. For Haitians, Vertières is not simply military history, it is the origin story of the nation. Then, with the opening match against Scotland only 2 days away, FIFA intervened. Citing Law 4 of its equipment regulations, FIFA ruled that the artwork constituted a prohibited political or military statement. Haiti was ordered to remove the design and redesign the kit immediately. That single decision changed the entire conversation because FIFA was no longer just regulating a football shirt. It was deciding whether the founding event of a nation could appear on that nation's World Cup jersey. Critics immediately asked the obvious question: if a country cannot depict the event that brought the country into existence, what exactly counts as acceptable national history? FIFA's defenders had an answer. They argued that the rule is not new and that it has been applied before. European teams have previously been prevented from wearing Remembrance Day poppies. The point, they said, is consistency. A global governing body cannot make exceptions every time a symbol feels important to one nation. On paper, that sounds reasonable, but the backlash grew because many people believed this case was fundamentally different. A poppy is a commemorative symbol. The Battle of Vertières is the event that created Haiti. Critics argued that FIFA was treating a nation's birth certificate as if it were a campaign slogan, and then another detail emerged that made the controversy even harder to contain. This was not the first time in 2026 that an international sports authority had objected to Haitian revolutionary imagery. Earlier in the year, the IOC had also moved against uniforms depicting Toussaint Louverture, one of the central figures of the Haitian Revolution. Suddenly, people were no longer asking whether one football rule had been enforced. They were asking why Haitian historical symbols seemed to be repeatedly targeted across different international sports organizations. That is when the story became bigger than football. Supporters of the ban insisted that the rule has to be blind to history. Once governing bodies start deciding which revolutions are acceptable and which are not, the system becomes impossible to administer fairly. Opponents responded that neutrality is not actually neutral when it erases the history of the country wearing the shirt. And FIFA's own explanation created another problem. By classifying the artwork as a political or military statement, the organization effectively placed Haiti's independence battle into the same category as contemporary political messaging. For many Haitians, that wording was the most offensive part of the entire episode, because from their perspective, the jersey was not making a political argument, it was identifying the nation. As the debate intensified, the practical consequences became almost absurd. Haiti had already been forced to play its qualification campaign abroad. Many fans faced travel restrictions that made attending the tournament difficult or impossible. The country itself remained trapped in a humanitarian and security crisis. And now, on the eve of its long-awaited World Cup return, the team was being told that one of the most important symbols in Haitian history could not appear on its shirt. Each obstacle by itself was manageable. Together, they created a very different picture. That is why the phrase, "the real reason FIFA banned the jersey," became so controversial. Technically, the reason was simple. Law 4 prohibits political, religious, and personal messages messages or images. But the deeper question was whether FIFA had interpreted that rule in a way that ignored the difference between political messaging and national existence. Even some people who accepted the legal basis of the ban admitted the optics were disastrous. Haiti was returning to the World Cup after 52 years, during one of the darkest periods in the country's modern history, and the governing body's headline decision was to remove a symbol of Haitian independence from the team's kit. You can see why many fans felt the celebration had been interrupted by a bureaucracy that did not understand what it was touching, and yet the counter-argument never disappeared. FIFA governs more than 200 member associations. If it allows one nation to wear Revolutionary Battle imagery, what happens when another federation wants to wear imagery tied to a conflict that is still politically contested? Where does the line get drawn? Those are real questions, and FIFA supporters argue that the organization cannot survive without clear, universal rules. The problem is that universal rules become controversial when they collide with histories that are not interchangeable. A shirt commemorating a modern political cause is not the same thing as a shirt depicting the event that created the country wearing it. FIFA treated them under the same rule. Critics insist that treating them the same is exactly the mistake. So the controversy remains unresolved because both sides are arguing about different things. FIFA is arguing about governance. Haiti's supporters are arguing about identity. And by the time the team finally takes the field against Scotland, the match carries a meaning that goes far beyond football. These players qualified without home games. They qualified while their country was in crisis. They qualified while representing a nation many of them could not safely gather in. And they will walk onto the World Cup stage wearing a redesigned jersey because the original version, featuring the battle that founded Haiti, was ruled unacceptable by the sport's most powerful governing body. That is the real reason this story refuses to disappear. It is not just about a banned shirt. It is about whether global sports institutions can separate political messaging from the historical symbols that define a nation's existence. Haiti's World Cup return was supposed to be a straightforward comeback story. Instead, it became a test of who gets to decide which parts of a country's history are allowed to appear on the world's biggest sporting stage. And the most uncomfortable question is the one FIFA still cannot easily answer. If the Battle of Vertières is too political for Haiti's World Cup jersey, what symbol of Haiti would not be?